Miss Sharp. I see that you just got home from your ministry, and I saw you drop this printout as you were getting out of your vehicle. Abijah, never stop leaning upon Jehovah. I never heard of Abijah. What did he do?
Well, thank you so much, Kayla. You know, I'm going to need this research material for my meeting tomorrow night. But if you got a few minutes, I can give you some background information on Abijah.
Okay, sure.
Okay, Abijah was the son of King Rehoboam. Though not the firstborn, Abijah was highly favored and chosen as a Judean king. There was another king named Jeroboam who had allowed idol worship in Israel, but Abijah was against that. So the two kingdoms battled against one another. Grab that Bible there on the table, Kayla. And let's examine 2 Chronicles 13:12. That's 2 Chronicles 13:12. And that's found on page 621 of this Bible. Now, even though Jeroboam had twice as many men as Abijah, notice what confidence and conviction Abijah had that Jehovah would give him the victory here in verse 12. Now look, the true God is with us, leading us with his priests and the signal trumpets for signing the battle alarm against you. O men of Israel, do not fight against Jehovah, the God of your forefather, for you will not be successful. Now let's take a look at the outcome, Kayla, by dropping down to verse 18. Thus the men of Israel were humble at that time, but the men of Judah proved superior because they relied on Jehovah, the God of their forefathers. And see, Kayla, because of Abijah relied or leaned on Jehovah, it turned out well for him.
So what went wrong?
You know, that's a very good question, Kayla. Let's find out what went wrong. Let's turn to 1 Kings 14:22 through 24. That's 1 Kings 14:22 through 24. And that's found also on page 507, Kayla. Now, instead of reading this, Kayla, let's just glance at some of the bad practices Abijah allowed the people to do in the land. Notice there in verse 23, they were building high places, sacred pillars, and sacred poles. See, all of this is referring to worship of other gods, false gods, Kayla. But you know, isn't it ironic? Because as you remember, these were some of the very practices that King Jeroboam had allowed in the land, and Jehovah gave Abijah the victory. Now, Kayla, get a hold of this in verse 24. Male temple prostitutes in the land.
Wow, male prostitutes? That's disgusting.
Yes, and it's even more disgusting to Jehovah. Now, Abijah went down in history, Kayla, as a king who stopped leaning on Jehovah. What a lesson for you and I. Now, Kayla, I want to commend you for taking an interest in spiritual things. You know, even before Abijah time, our first human parents also stopped leaning on Jehovah. And something also went wrong back then. And that caused untold suffering and death to the entire human race. Would you like to know what happened back then? What went wrong, Kayla?
Yes, I've always wondered why we get sick and die.
Well, good. You know, I will most likely be getting home the same time tomorrow. And so why don't you come over when you see me pull up? And let's continue this conversation. And I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, why don't you bring that iPad I always see you carrying around? You know, I want to introduce to you a website, a very unique website that I think will be very helpful to you.
That's super. As soon as I see you pull up, I'm going to walk over.
That sounds like a plan, Kayla.